Welcome to the Elegant Vagabond, the place where you level up your love life. Today, we're diving into another powerful section of the art of kissing, the ultimate guide to mastering the kiss. Whether you're looking to impress, connect, or deepen your romantic game, this book has the secrets you need. So get comfortable, stay tuned, and let's break down the best techniques for unforgettable kisses.
The Art of Kissing by Hugh Morris. Episode 6, Electric Kissing Parties. Some few years ago, a very peculiar kissing custom arose which deserves mention here because, from it, we can learn how to adapt the method to our modem devices. At that time, when young people got together, they held what was then known as electric kissing parties. Young people are ever on the outlook for novel ways of entertaining themselves. In fact, when ether was first developed as an anesthetic, the young bloods of the town used to form ether sniffing parties in which they got a perfectly squiffy ether jag. But to return to the electric kisses, an excerpt from a contemporary writer will perhaps give us some idea of what happened. The ladies and gentlemen range themselves about the room. In leap year, the ladies select a partner, and together they shuffle about on the carpet until they are charged with electricity, the lights in the room having been first turned low. Then they kiss in the dark, and make the sparks fly for the amusement of the onlookers. The same sort of experiment could be performed nowadays on cold, dry nights when the air is overloaded with electricity. But be certain that neither you nor your partner touches each other after shuffling furiously on the carpet with your feet. Merely lean over slowly, and when your lips are about half an inch apart, slow the process down even more until the spark jumps. However, considerable practice should be had before this kiss variation can be done successfully. The natural reaction to this sort of shock is to pull away from each other. But try to resist this natural impulse because if you do not kiss the moment after the shock has been perpetrated, the pleasure will be all gone. Once you have practiced this for some time, you will become so inured to the slight shock that you will seek more potent electric shocks. These can be obtained with the use of an electric vibrator, or in fact, any device that is worked from a battery and a coil which steps up the weak 3 volts of the battery. Shooting galleries have electricity testing devices of this nature, which have 2 handles. No matter what you use, the method is as follows. First, you take hold of one pole of the live wire of the handle of the machine, if that is what you are using. Then, your partner should take hold of the other pole or handle. This done, bring your lips together until there is about 1/8 of an inch separating your lips. At this moment, turn the rheostat that increases the current. As soon as the charge is strong enough, a sudden, intense spark will jump the gap of your lips. Again, learn not to flinch, but to seize hold of the opportunity of bringing your lips together in a grand, climactic kiss. The advantage of this method is that you can regulate the electrical charges so that when you become inured to one strength, you can increase the current almost indefinitely. A word of warning, however, is apropos here. Be satisfied with the current generated by this battery set. Don't be like a young friend of mine who discovered that the battery set, even at its highest output, was too weak for him and his partner. Being of an experimental nature, he decided to see what would happen were he to use the ordinary house current as the electrical stimulus. And so, together with his partner, he placed himself in front of an electric wall outlet into which he had screwed a plug and a wire whose end had been frayed so that the 2 wires were separated. Taking hold of one wire, he advised the girl to take hold of the other. Then, using the usual electric kiss technique, he bent over and started to bring his lips slowly towards the girl's lips. He got as far as about half an inch from her lips, and that's all. Because a moment later, he saw a blinding flame sear across his eyes, and he felt an enormous blow jolt him off his feet. When he came to enough to realize where he was, he found himself asprawl on the floor, his girlfriend in a similar position a few feet away. The result was a pair of burned lips and a combined determination to stick to the old-fashioned way of kissing. The burned lip will always spurn the flame. The Dancing Kiss. A very pleasant way to kiss is found in the dancing kiss. Here again, it is the closeness of the bodies of the participants that adds to the enjoyment. What more could a pair of lovers ask for than a dimly lighted dance floor? The tender, rhythmical strains of a waltz being played by Wayne King, their arms around each other, their eager young bodies kissing each other in a myriad of excitable places. The while, their cheeks meet in glowing velvety strokes. Naturally, in such situations, the rules of social etiquette will not allow the pair to enjoy an extremely appropriate lip kiss. Although this can very easily be accomplished in the privacy of one's parlor while the radio is broadcasting the music. In fact, the electric kiss can be ideally performed under these circumstances. But when dancing in a public place, the only kisses allowed would be those surreptitious ones stolen under the straying eye of the chaperone. Under the pretense of whispering pretty nothings into your partner's shell of an ear, allow your lips to touch her earlobe, her cheek, and her chin. A few covert eye kisses, perhaps, can be stolen in this manner too. But these stolen sweets should suffice the happy couple until they return home. Then, stimulated by the forepleasure of these previous non-lip kisses, the pair can indulge in all the variations listed in this booklet, to their hearts and their lips' content. The while they recall, perhaps, those lines from Sir John Suckling's Ballad of a Wedding, which went, "Oh, they sudden up and rise and dance, then sit again and sigh and glance, then dance again and kiss." The surprise kiss. A most charming manner of kissing is called the surprise kiss. This is performed when one of the parties has fallen asleep, on the sofa, let us say. On entering the room, when the other sees his lover asleep, he should tiptoe softly over to her. Then, lowering his head slowly, he should implant a soft, downy, feathery kiss squarely on her lips. This first kiss should be a very light one, but thereafter, the intensity of the kisses should increase until the sleeping one is awakened, and, of course, even beyond that. The effect of such an awakening to a sleeper is almost heavenly, for, while in the midst of a dream, a pleasant one, most likely, for it will concern the other half of the couple, she feels vaguely, faintly, as though it were the touch of a butterfly's wing, a subtle kiss on her lips. Naturally, in the depths of her sleep, she imagines that it is part of her dream, and the result is a pleasant sensation, indeed. Then gradually, although still asleep, she feels the kisses continue, and the pleasantness continues. Then, as she starts to come out of her sleep, she realizes that the kisses are too real for a dream. But she is sure that she is dreaming. And so, immediately, a relapse from the happiness sets in, and a twinge of sadness comes over her, because she knows that, instead of being with her lover, she is only dreaming of him. Imagine, then, her extreme gratification when, while thinking these drab thoughts, she feels the actuality of an intense, ardent kiss on her lips. Her heart flutters wildly. Her pulse runs riot. Perhaps she is not asleep, she argues to herself. Then she opens her eyes, and she sees the darling face of her beloved bending over her, and she feels the sensuous touch of his lips on hers. Truly, no awakening can be more pleasurable. Kissing under the mistletoe. Perhaps, in conclusion, it would be appropriate to make mention of a few kissing customs which have intrigued mankind. For instance, there is the rite of kissing under the mistletoe, at Christmas time. The origin of this custom is uncertain. Suffice it to say, it must have been started by some woman because, in it, the rule is that if a woman is caught standing under a sprig of mistletoe, any man has the right to kiss her, peremptorily, without asking her permission or begging her pardon. Here is one time when social convention closes its eyes to lovers' delights. For, then, you can seize hold of the girl with impunity and smack her to your heart's content without being socially ostracized for it. Kissing games. One wonders at the prevalence of kissing games in this civilization. Games on the order of Post Office, Kiss the Pillow, and innumerable others which have been devised for the jovial disports of lovers. In these games, because they are games, it is perfectly legitimate for two people to kiss. In fact, in the game Post Office, this kissing is encouraged behind closed doors where the happy couple are alone in a room. The game is so widespread that comment in regard to the manner in which it is played would be extraneous here. But what would make an excellent topping off for this booklet would be a conjecture as to the reason for the prevalence of such games, even during the dreaded Victorian times, when etiquette was so strict that the dictum was made forbidding the placing of a book by a female author next to a book written by a man. These kissing games existed and shall continue to exist because man and woman must kiss. In fact, man is the only animal who uses the kiss to express his love and affection. Dogs, cats, and bears lick their offspring. Horses and cows rub noses and necks. Birds nestle together. But only mankind kisses. Only mankind has the reason, the logic, the happy faculty of being able to appreciate the charm, the beauty, the extreme pleasure, the joy, the passionate fulfillment of the kiss. Nature kisses, in her way, but nature hasn't the brains to profit from the kiss. Only man can do this. Perhaps it would be appropriate to conclude this summary of the art of kissing with an excerpt from Shelley's immortal poem, in which occur the following lines. See the mountains kiss high heaven, and the waves clasp one another. No sister flower would be forgiven if it disdained its brother. And the sunlight clasps the earth, and the moonbeams kiss the sea. What are these kissings worth? If thou kiss not me.
And just like that, we've reached the end of the art of kissing, a journey through passion, connection, and the timeless power of a perfect kiss. But this isn't goodbye, it's just the beginning. If you've enjoyed this deep dive, stay tuned, because the Elegant Vagabond has plenty more to explore. We'll be back soon with new books, new insights, and new ways to level up your love life. So subscribe, share, and keep your lips and your heart ready for what's next. Until then, go out there and kiss like you mean it.